This was an expedition boat, and many of the people on board were doing bird watching.
Turns out a bird-watching tour may be the source of this Hantavirus outbreak. According to the Associated Press, 2 Argentine officials investigating how this started said their government is leaning toward the idea that a Dutch couple contracted the virus while bird-watching in the city of Ushuaia, Argentina, before boarding the ship. The AP reports the couple visited a landfill during the tour and may have been exposed to infected rodents. That 70-year-old Dutch man was the first to die on the ship, days after they left port in Argentina. His 69-year-old wife died about 2 weeks later. The rest of the people on board, including nearly 150 passengers, are now on a 3 to 4 day journey from Cape Verde to Tenerife in the Canary Islands. Spain has agreed to receive the ship there. Upon arrival, the plan is for all passengers to be taken to a nearby airport and sent back to their home countries. The 14 Spanish citizens will be examined and go directly into quarantine at a Madrid hospital.
This is the country of Cape Verde in front of us, but it is forbidden to go down to it.
This travel vlogger on board posted on social media about the predicament they now find themselves in.
Today was supposed to be the last day of our 35-day trip on the Atlantic, but it is clear that our journey will not end here because Cape Verde refused to receive us on its coast.
Earlier today, this medical evacuation boat removed 3 sick people from the ship. On their way to the Netherlands, a source from Spain's health ministry told CNN that Morocco refused to let the plane carrying 2 of the evacuees land to refuel. Instead, it made an unscheduled landing at Gran Canaria Airport to do so.
People are usually infected through contact with infected rodents, or their urine, their droppings, or their saliva. Human-to-human transmission is uncommon.
Yet in this case, the World Health Organization believes the virus may have been transmitted person to person on board. And just today, following lab tests, confirmed this is the Andes strain of the virus, which has spread among close contacts before.
For some people, the fear surrounding the recent hantavirus outbreak isn't just about the virus itself. It's about memory, the masks, the isolation, the uncertainty, the grief. For many people, this outbreak isn't just triggering concern, it's opening emotional wounds from 2020. And the truth is, some people never fully recovered emotionally from what COVID-19 did to their lives, their families, and their sense of safety. So what do you do? What do you do when a new outbreak awakens old fear and unresolved grief? Before we go any further, if recent headlines about hantavirus or disease outbreaks have brought up fear, anxiety, or memories from the COVID-19 pandemic, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe because someone else is silently reliving emotions they thought they had already moved past. Welcome to Sit With It. I'm Dr. Dandridge. This is a space where we don't rush healing. No, we do exactly that. We sit with it. And today we're talking about the fear and grief many people are experiencing surrounding the recent hantavirus outbreak. Recent cases linked to a cruise ship outbreak have sparked international concern and emotional reactions across social media and news platforms. And for many people, the fear isn't just medical, it's emotional. Because the world remembers what happened in 2020. People remember the lockdowns, losing loved ones, empty stores, hospital rooms, isolation, anxiety. So when people hear words like outbreak again, their nervous system reacts before their mind can process it. I've heard people say over these last couple of days, I know this isn't COVID, but it still scares me. And honestly, that reaction makes sense. Because trauma leaves impressions. Some people lost family members. Some people lost jobs. Some people lost stability. Some people lost mental peace during the COVID-19 pandemic. And now, hearing headlines about another virus outbreak brings those emotions rushing back. Even healthcare workers have shared that this situation is triggering painful memories from the early COVID years. And maybe that's where you are. Not panicking, but just a little unsettled. Not just fearful of disease, but fearful of reliving what the world already survived once before. Today, I want to walk through 3 things you can take with you as you navigate fear and grief surrounding this outbreak. The first thing I want you to take with you is that your fear may be connected to past trauma, not just present headlines. Let's start here. Sometimes your emotional reaction is bigger than the current moment because it's connected to a previous one. The COVID-19 pandemic changed people emotionally. For many, it created health anxiety. It created fear of uncertainty. It created emotional exhaustion, distrust, grief that was never fully processed. So hearing about another outbreak can reactivate those feelings. That doesn't mean you're weak. It means your mind and body remember what survival felt like. I want to ask you this question. Is your fear about this outbreak alone, or is this fear connected to what you experienced during the COVID-19 years? The second thing I want you to take with you is that fear grows faster than facts in the age of social media. Here's something important to remember. Information moves fast, but fear moves faster. And right now, social media is filled with speculation, filled with worst case scenarios, filled with comparisons to COVID-19, filled with this panic-driven commentary. But according to the World Health Organization, this hantavirus outbreak is currently considered low risk to the general population and is not viewed as the next COVID. Experts continue to emphasize that hantavirus behaves differently from COVID-19 and is much less contagious than COVID-19. Now, that doesn't mean people shouldn't take it seriously, but it does mean fear should not outrun facts. It does mean that anxiety should not become our lifestyle. It does mean that constant doom scrolling will not create peace. I want to ask you, have you been feeding your fear more than grounding yourself in reliable information? The last thing I want you to take with you and consider, and then I'm going to let you go, is that you can acknowledge fear without living and being controlled by it. This is balance, because pretending not to care isn't healthy, but neither is living in constant panic. You can stay informed, you can take reasonable precautions, you can be emotionally honest without surrendering your peace completely to fear. And this is where your work becomes deeply relevant. Because one thing the pandemic taught many people is that life is fragile. Relationships matter. Conversations matter. Presence matters. And instead of allowing fear to consume us, we can allow awareness to deepen how we live. We can move from panic to perspective, from fear to intentionality, from anxiety to presence. I want to ask you, what would it look like to stay informed without becoming emotionally consumed? I also want to ask you this, and I want you to answer honestly. Maybe put it inside of the comments. When you hear about disease outbreaks now, do you immediately think about 2020? Now let's take a moment, like we always do, and breathe in, breathe out. Notice your body. Notice your thoughts. Notice what fear may be trying to tell you. And instead of spiraling into worst case scenarios, ground yourself in the moment. You are here. You are aware. And fear does not have to make every decision for you. The fear many people are feeling right now is real, not just because of the outbreak, but because of what the world has already lived through. And if this situation has brought up grief, anxiety, or emotional exhaustion for you, acknowledge that honestly. But also remember, fear is not the only thing you carry. You also carry wisdom, experience, resilience, perspective. And that matters too. Family, if this conversation has helped you process some of what you've been feeling, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe, because someone else is quietly carrying the same anxiety and they need this conversation. And if you're ready to go deeper inside of your healing journey, I want to encourage you to check out my books, Designing Your Goodbye, and some other resources I have on Amazon. These resources are here to help you navigate fear, grief, uncertainty, and healing with intention, clarity, and spiritual grounding. I I want you all to remember today that healing doesn't just happen when you rush it. No, it happens when you sit with it. Thank you for your time, and thank you for joining me. Y'all stay safe out in this world. Peace.